Ida McKinley 11 Shocking and Scandalous Facts. Ida McKinley, the First Lady of the United States from 1897 to 1901, is often remembered for her delicate health and the tragedies that marred her life. However, there are numerous lesser-known, shocking, and intriguing aspects of her life that provide a deeper insight into her character and experiences. Here are 11 such facts that reveal the complexities and challenges of her life. Fact number 1. The Heiress of Canton. Ida Saxton, born on June 8, 1847, in Canton, Ohio, was the granddaughter of John Saxton, who founded The Repository, a leading Ohio newspaper in 1815. Her father, James Boss Saxton, was a wealthy banker who believed strongly in women's education and equality. Ida benefited from this progressive family environment, attending the best local schools and later, the prestigious Brooke Hall in Media, Pennsylvania. By 1869, she was working at the Saxton-owned Stark County Bank, an extraordinary position for a woman of that era, particularly as a cashier handling significant financial transactions. This role underscored not only her familial influence but also her personal capabilities and advanced understanding of finance at a time when women's roles in business were severely limited. Number 2. Romantic beginnings and tragic loss. Ida's early romantic life was marked by profound tragedy. Before her marriage to William McKinley, she was engaged to John Wright, a former Confederate Army major. The engagement was cut short by Wright's sudden death due to what was likely meningitis, around 1869, a devastating loss for Ida. This event occurred shortly before she embarked on a grand European tour, perhaps as a means of coping with her grief. Her engagement and Wright's unexpected death significantly affected her, laying a foundation of emotional vulnerability that would be further compounded by later personal tragedies. Number 3. A love marked by tragedy. Ida Saxton married William McKinley on January 25, 1871, in a ceremony at the First Presbyterian Church in Canton, Ohio, attended by a large gathering of community members. The couple faced immediate hardships. Their first daughter, Katie, was born on Christmas Day 1871 and became the center of their world until her untimely death from typhoid fever at just 4 years old in 1875. Their second daughter, also named Ida, was born in 1873 but lived only a few months. The successive losses of her children plunged Ida McKinley into a state of persistent grief and depression, exacerbating her health issues, including the development of epilepsy. Her personal suffering deeply impacted her role and presence in public life as she navigated her duties alongside her significant health challenges. Number 4. Chronic health issues. Ida McKinley's health began to deteriorate significantly following the death of her two daughters in the early 1870s. By the time her husband William McKinley ran for president in 1896, she was suffering from epilepsy, a condition that was not well understood and highly stigmatized during that era. Her seizures became public knowledge when she would have episodes at large events. To manage these incidents and minimize public attention, special measures were taken, such as William staying close to her at events and covering her with a handkerchief during a seizure to give the appearance of a simple fainting spell. The press, aware of her condition, sometimes reported on these episodes in a sensational manner, although there was also a degree of discretion shown by the media on the details of her illness during certain public appearances. Number 5. The Lavender Gown Mystery. During the presidential campaign of 1896, Ida McKinley was reported to wear a lavender gown at numerous public events. This choice became a symbol of good luck and a talking point in the media. The persistent choice of the same colored gown was unusual and garnered both ridicule and admiration from the public and press. It highlighted the era's fascination with the personal styles and superstitions of political figures. The lavender gown came to symbolize not just Ida's personal superstition but also her subtle influence within the campaign, as these repeated public appearances in the gown painted a picture of a supportive and steadfast spouse amid the turbulent political atmosphere. Number 6. The Slush Fund Scandal. In 1897, during William McKinley's early presidency, a scandal erupted involving the misuse of a slush fund by some of McKinley's associates. The fund was allegedly used to cover extravagant purchases by Ida McKinley and possibly even her medical expenses, though details of her direct involvement were never fully disclosed or confirmed. This incident brought significant negative publicity to the McKinley administration, casting a shadow over its early days and leading to rumors and accusations of corruption and mismanagement. The scandal highlighted the potential vulnerabilities within the inner circles of political figures, where personal expenses and official funds could become entangled, leading to public and political fallout. Number 7. Protection at all costs. President William McKinley's protective measures for Ida, his wife, due to her chronic epilepsy, were notable during his presidency, 1897 to 1901. At state dinners and official functions, it was customary for everyone to stand. However, Ida was allowed to remain seated to prevent any stress or physical strain that could trigger a seizure. This break from protocol was highly unusual and reflective of McKinley's deep care for her well-being. While some criticized this as an undue alteration of presidential traditions, others admired it as a touching demonstration of his devotion and love. These actions underscored not only his personal commitment to her comfort but also the extent to which her condition influenced the highest levels of state protocol. Number 8. A First Lady's influence. Despite significant health challenges, Ida McKinley wielded a quiet yet influential role in her husband's political life. She was known to have a subtle yet significant influence on President McKinley's decisions, particularly regarding appointments and other executive decisions. Ida often sat beside him during important meetings, a practice not typical for first ladies of the time. Her presence was a silent assertion of her role as a confidant and advisor, highlighting her involvement in matters usually reserved for political figures and advisors. This level of involvement by a first lady was progressive for the era, suggesting a partnership that extended into the realms of governance and policy. Number 9. An unconventional hostess. Due to Ida McKinley's frequent ill health, her sister often assumed the First Lady's social duties at the White House. This arrangement was uncommon and led to public speculation and gossip about the dynamics within the First family. The role swapping between the sisters was seen as unconventional, with some viewing it with suspicion as it deviated from the traditional expectations of a First Lady. Nevertheless, this setup allowed Ida to manage her health better and still fulfill her duties indirectly through her sister, maintaining the social graces expected at the White House. Number 10. European influence and advocacy for social causes. Ida Saxton McKinley's 1869 European tour significantly influenced her advocacy for social justice. In Belgium, she supported lace workers by purchasing their handmade lace, demonstrating her commitment to workers' rights and financial independence. This early experience paved the way for her later efforts as First Lady, where she championed women's suffrage and African American rights. Her visit to the Tuskegee Institute underscored her progressive views on racial equality. Additionally, Ida's project of knitting over 3,500 slippers for charity highlighted her ongoing dedication to social welfare, using this activity to support various charitable causes effectively. Number 11. A presidential widow's grief. Ida McKinley's life took a tragic turn after the assassination of her husband, President William McKinley, in 1901. Already fragile, her health and emotional state worsened significantly after his death. She lived as a widow for 6 more years until her death in 1907, marked by deep grief and increased isolation. Her frequent visits to McKinley's tomb reflected her profound sorrow and the emotional toll of her husband's violent death. These visits were a public testament to her enduring love and the immense personal cost of her public role, highlighting the often overlooked personal sacrifices made by those in the highest echelons of power.